What's up, guys? It's me again, Christian Rodriguez. Today's gonna be a short video, but today I want to talk about reinventing yourself, right? And this is actually one of the laws in the 48 Laws of Power. Do I remember what number it is? No, but it's one of the laws in the 48 Laws of Power. And Robert Greene talks about you have to recreate yourself because if you don't recreate yourself, right? If you don't create your own identity, people will create your identity for you. I know it was worded a little differently than that, but the point is still the same, right? When you're trying new things and you want to become like a better version of yourself, right? The toughest thing that's going to happen is a lot of people are going to, they're going to try to bring your past over you, right? They're going to try to tell you, "Oh, you remember you used to be that guy who used to get drunk with us, right? Who's bad with girls, right? Like stuff like that." And that stuff is it's almost like a form of like pulling you down, right? And part of reinventing yourself too is just changing your environment, right? And a thing that you need to like seriously stop doing when it comes to recreating yourself is to cut out those getting drunk days. Those days need to be behind you. And before I get into it, right, I used to get drunk. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I used to be the guy who used to get drunk, who used to go out, make a fool of myself, right? Have a temper, stuff like that. That needs to go behind you. Like, sure, if you, I guess if you're curious and you want to experience it, sure, go right ahead, experience it. But the reality is, it's the biggest waste of time, right? You're gonna wake up the next day with a big greasy hangover. You're not gonna be in the mood to. You're not gonna be able to work on your goals, right? You're not gonna be able to work on your goals. You're not gonna be able to go to the gym the next day if you're hungover. It's just the truth. You're not gonna. You're more likely to eat shit food, especially when you're hungover, because you're not gonna want to cook, right? Or you're not gonna pick healthy options. You're not gonna be in the right mental space, right? And obviously, I'm not going to get too far into details of the alcohol, but the lifestyle around it. Do you really want to be around people who are only friends with you when you're drunk, right? Those are the worst people to be around. I don't know about you, but I used to hang around with people who just I would ask myself, right? Like I would ask myself, I'm like, if if I stopped drinking alcohol, would these people still be friends with me? Will we be perfectly fine hanging out with each other, right? Would we um would we be able to hang out if alcohol wasn't involved, right? And I thought about those things, and what it made me realize is the answer is no, right? When there was no alcohol involved, it's like kind of awkward. It's like we have nothing to talk about, to be in common. And the thing that it made me realize is it the thing that it made me realize is that we had that this is a weak relationship. This is a weak dynamic, right? This is a dynamic that's holding me back. This person doesn't really want better for me. They just want someone to drink with, right? And this is what happens when you have that alcohol drinking lifestyle, right? And it's not sustainable too. Like there's other things too, right? You could go to the gym, right? You could be that guy who goes to the gym 5 days a week, but if you're drinking every week, you're gonna get a beer gut, right? You might get some muscle, but you're gonna have a lot of fat over it, and it's not gonna look good. And plus, it kills testosterone. It's just there's no benefit to it, right? And if you want to meet women, there's better places to meet women. I'm not a dating guy, but when it comes to meeting women, why would you meet them at a place where everyone's getting drunk and everyone's like kind of sloppy, right? I don't know about you, that's like the one of the worst places to like meet someone, right? I just I don't see the hype behind it. I really don't. Yeah, sure. When I was younger, I used to find it really fun, but it's just a waste of time, right? If I could go back in time, I would have just skipped that part of my life, right? And sure, there were nights I had fun, but it's a waste of time. And yeah, part of reinventing yourself too is just making some sort of sacrifice, right? You have to let some form of the old version of you die. I remember I was listening to a Dan Martell video, older one that he made, and he talked about like letting the former version of you die, or he said something similar to that. And that really resonated with me. That sat down with me. I was just like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like you can't just stay as your old self, right? You need to almost make it in a way like you need to burn your ships almost. And before you keep going, I don't want you guys to just quit your job, right? To go start a business because I said that. Do not do that, right? Keep your job. That's not what I'm telling you to do. What I am telling you to do is make it more difficult to go back, right? So I'll give you an example, right? A good way I could describe it. When I moved here to Chicago, right? First, I lowered the commitment to it, right? So I made a commitment. I booked an Airbnb, right? And I was like, I'm just gonna stay for 2 months. Yeah, that's what I said. 2 months. I'm gonna stay for the summer. I'm gonna get a feel of Chicago and see if I want to stay longer, right? And what I did is I canceled my gym membership, right? The gym that I was at for 4 or 5 years, I canceled it. And since I canceled it, it ended up coming up that I was like, oh yeah, I'm moving. I'm not going to live here anymore. So eventually, people are finding out. So now everyone knows that I'm moving, right? But mentally for me, I said I was going to stay there for 2 months, and that was about 6 months ago, and I'm still here. So it ended up working, right? Because I burned a ship. If I had kept the membership and then I went to Chicago for 2 months, then I would have likely been back in New York, right? So I decided, let me not do that. Let me cancel the membership, get rid of any ties, such as like a gym, right? Since I'm paying for it, I'm probably going to want to go back to it. Since I'm not paying for it, it's not my problem anymore. So I'm going to go back somewhere else. So you have to find a way to do that for yourself, right? And I remember the example that Dan Martell used as well. He used, if you're looking to lose weight, right? And you finally lose weight, get rid of your old belt. Buy new clothes, buy smaller clothes, right? So you don't have to go back to the bigger, blabby clothes, right? He talks about stuff like that. And that's something that you have to do, right? Because if you give yourself an easy reason to go back to your old self, it's just going to be a lot harder, right? And when discipline's down, when you want to go back to the familiar, it's going to be easy for you to just go back, right? You got to make it like kind of inconvenient to go back to the old version of you. And I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to keep creating more content. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.